Hello everybody and happy 4th of July. It is I, Stippling Vaughn, and you can tell from the background noise that I am at my local dive bar working hard away at this. I am working on the fan art competition for the Lost Pages. I'm working right now on Phil and Brandon's patriotic character. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head right now. But figure have fun with him. Of course, you can see how I'm doing the dots. I'm using the old ink. So that's the reason why you get such a small, wispy dot. But it works. And then plus also when you have such a strong black, it helps stand out apart from it. It also helps because you take a look at the teeth and eyeballs of the monster, and that is using new ink. Remember, when I ink, when I use old ink, you get these very fine dots, and when I use new ink, I get these larger dots, and that's because like old ink, it's like gummed up, so it sticks in it doesn't feed through the nib as smoothly. So it's how I like to do it. And so today is launch day for Ethan Van Sciver's Red Extermination. It's the third book in his Cyberfrog series. And I think personally, okay, I think it was a mistake for him to launch today. Reason why I think it was an error for him to launch today is because he still hasn't fulfilled the second campaign, or the second book campaign in the series. He's still waiting on Death Sting, which again I'm like you really should get that fulfilled. And he's still waiting on books. He's still waiting on the Death Sting, the Salamander with Death Sting, and because he's still waiting on it, he hasn't been able to ship all of them. I haven't got mine. But I understand why he has. For quite a while, he's been promoting that it would be launched today. And then also, I thought about it, and why he wouldn't want to push it back any farther is, you keep in mind, Eric July right now has a $1 million campaign with ISOM 2. And he is in campaign mode. So you want to piggyback off of that success if you can by launching your book, so you can have so you can be on Eric July's show. Have Eric mention the campaign. I am noticing Eric is doing a lot more of promoting other creators. And so it makes sense if he's in campaign mode for his book, I saw him, he can use that as content for promoting other books. So I can understand why Ethan did it. And you keep in mind also, Ethan wants to broaden out to other markets. So if you have someone like Eric July with such a huge following, and is having such huge success with his campaigns, why wouldn't you want to piggyback off of that? So I can understand that. So he can get a lot of mileage and a lot of sales off of that. Plus also, Ethan's reached the point he doesn't have to have a follow-up tier or a backup, get caught up tier. So he can use that so like new people can back the campaign and then go over to his eBay store and get the first 2 books. So that way they have everything. So I can understand why he's doing it. So I know by the time you guys see this, by the time I post it, Ethan will have already launched. I'm sure he already has launched. I was sorry I was late getting in here to get started today. Miss Stipley and I went and did grocery shopping today. So we ended up hitting a couple other places. So I didn't get here right at 11. So that's the reason why the campaign will have already been launched by the time I upload this video and by the time you guys see it. So I'll be very curious how Ethan does on launch day today. So now the second part I want to talk about with this launch is I've always noticed when Ethan launches, he always does successful. But it's like one of those, I remember from watching in past, people get that dopamine hit, that and euphoric feeling watching it, like they want to be a part of watching that grow, and they go in and they back it. This is where, even though it's the 4th of July, like Andy Smith, Graham Nolan, Billy Tucci, Joe Sontag, Phil Diaz, and Michael Bancroft, and even Eric Weathers, they all need to carve some time. They should all be carving some time out today to be on Ethan's show. Reason being is because you want to get that euphoric dopamine hit that everybody's that all the backers are going through. Like, hey, remember, I've got a book too. If Andy Smith gets on Ethan's show, I can see him going over because of the backers' enthusiasm and whatnot, and that oh yeah, that excitement, that energy. I can see Andy's core draft going over 100,000. I can see Graham going over 200,000 if they get on to Ethan's show today, even if it's just for a few hours. I mean, yeah, today we celebrate the birth of our nation, but remember, part of that means we have the freedom to do what we want, which means that's what gives us the freedom to do this with having our own campaigns, with our own IPs. So in many ways, celebrating the birth of our country by working to make sales, to bring more people aware to your product, that's part of what the American way is all about. I think Billy Tucci's now, understand this, Billy's already over 100,000 when you combine Kickstarter and you combine Indiegogo together, but just on Indiegogo alone, I think he's like 80,000. I can see him, like Andy Smith is like 80,000. I can see the two of them going over 100K today if they get onto Ethan's stream and they are able to capture some of that energy that's going on over that show today. So I hope they take advantage of it. So I look forward to hopefully seeing it. I'm not going to be able to really watch the show until later today because I'm here working, and this is where I got my work done. I could go at home and just be like, work from home and watch the stream or listen to the stream, but no, this is where I get my work done. You go where you work, get your work done. If you are in a creative process, you got to do it where your creative inspiration, where your safe space is. I know, safe space is a dirty word, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, I don't get my work done at home. I get my work done when I'm here. That's the reason why you can hear in the background, you can hear other bar goers. And we've got a few. Right now, today, we've just got some of the regulars, okay? Everyone else is probably out at their picnics and having their parties. I can see if I were to stay here, it being later, specifically later after the fireworks and the kids start rolling in. I can see it getting much busier. I can even see it like towards the end of the day after people. See, this is the thing, is it's a Tuesday, so maybe not as like normally on a holiday or on the weekend. You get people later in the day coming in. But for July 4th, you don't necessarily always have that. So, but I mean, it's the 4th of July. Now, one thing I always advise everybody is remember why our country was formed. Okay, we didn't feel that we were being properly represented, and that England was just basically England had made us their bitch. We were a revenue stream for England, and they were dictating to us how we should act and how we should conduct ourselves, and basically just financially just raping us. And we rose up against that, and that's why we have the liberties that we have came from that oppression from the British government. So when I would encourage everybody today of all days, if you haven't read it in a while, read the Declaration of Independence, read the Bill of Rights so you understand. And then if you don't understand one of them, research it. Research why we have those amendments when we first formed our country. One of the first ones I think about is we have in our one of our first in the first 10, we have that no individual citizen is required to house members of the military. Okay? It seems silly, but when you look at what was happening in our country when our country formed, it's vital and it's necessary, because that's what the British were doing. The British officers were like, oh, that's a nice house, I'm gonna make it my... this is your house? No, this is your master bedroom? No, it's now mine. You have to let me stay here. That's why we have that in our Constitution and in our Bill of Rights. So, and just research them all, okay? The one that I always firmly support, okay, is the Second Amendment. Okay, the Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms. Okay, now how you interpret it, you could say, well, we don't need it because it's for a militia. But you have to remember, when our country was formed, okay, any person that's watching this video, me, anybody I know, Ethan, Graham, Billy, Andy, okay, they were all members of a civilian and militia. It was the intention of the Declaration of Independence was that if we are attacked, okay, it is the duty, it is the right of every single citizen in our country to use their arms to defend themselves and defend their property. That's the whole reason why we had it, was because we had no army. Okay, the entire army we had was a civilian army, and technically we still do. They're paid. We pay them, but we haven't had a draft since the 60s. And because we don't have a draft anymore, that's the reason why it's imperative that we stress that we have a civilian government, that we have a civilian military. And it's the job of the civilian military to protect us. Okay? But it doesn't stop there. Every single person has the duty and the obligation to defend our country. And that's part of the reason why we have the First Amendment. Okay? Like it or hate it, it is there. Okay? You have to, there have been certain amendments that have been reversed. The Volstead Act is the perfect example of a act being reversed. Okay? But overall, there's never been a act passed that violates the first 10 amendments, otherwise referred to as our Bill of Rights. So now you and I can go round and round. I would say the best thing, like I said, to argue with me on it, read the Bill of Rights, and how we interpret it, how you interpret it, how I interpret it, are two completely different things. Okay? But it's important that we read about it. I remember back when I was working retail, I was working with a bunch of kids, and I was getting so frustrated because they just didn't seem to understand. I don't remember what the situation was, but they just didn't really seem to understand something, and it was because it would have what they wanted something, and they would have violated the Bill of Rights. And I got so frustrated, I made them pull out their phones, and I made there was probably 4 or 5 of them. I did each one, okay, you read the First Amendment. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, now you read the Second Amendment. What does that mean? And we went round and round with each one of them. Basically, what I was doing what their teachers weren't doing, which was making them read and making them learn what the meaning of these Bill of Rights were, and how it affects them, and how it will affect them moving forward in the future. And they began to understand the importance of these specific bills and how it's been designed, how they may not like how it doesn't affect them now, but how beneficial as a whole it is to them. And what helped out actually the most was some of these kids, I don't know whether they'd immigrated from other countries or whether their parents had immigrated from other countries, but they were Hispanic. And I said, do me yourself a favor. I said, go home and have a talk with your parents about this. I said, because their ancestry isn't from here. They'll probably be able to tell you how important these rights are from where they came from. So, and some of them did come back to me and tell me about that. And it was like how they may not agree with it, but they can see where it protects them versus where their family came from. So, hey, I've taken up enough of your time. I'll be doing another time-lapse video today. I'm probably going to do the time-lapse video. It's either going to be here, I don't know, it's going to be one of these spots here. I don't know. I think what I might do is I might do more of the stippling of the time-lapse in here. So I'll finish up this hand, work on the tongue here, do the ear. So I'll probably work on that during the time lapse. So I hope you like it. Remember, like, subscribe, share it out, and feel free to comment. So until then, remember, life is stressful. Just take it all one dot at a time.